Good afternoon. Okay, hopefully you just listened to a Feast for Crows, and now we are going to be listening to myself listen to or read aloud The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. Okay, so when we were reading this, we just read the other one that had different, it's a little bit easier to understand. This one's a little bit more difficult, okay, and I'm going to break this down a little bit more throughout the time of the reading, okay? So when you are thinking, all right, so when you're thinking, when I am reading, think about a variety of different things, like the pillars of the earth. Why? How does that title relate to this? Because titles do relate. What is the author really trying to get us to think about and really pull from this passage? So make sure we're listening, analyzing, and if you have the paper in front of you, mark down some notes while I read it so that you don't have to go back and constantly listen to me read. Okay? All right, so here are The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. The small boys came early to the hanging. It was still dark when the first of them snuck out, quiet as cats. A layer of fresh snow covered the town, and theirs were the first footprints. They picked their way through the wooden huts and along the streets of frozen mud to the marketplace where the gallows stood. So think about it. They are sneaking out of their house, okay? They're leaving their house quietly. Their footprints are the first ones in the snow, okay? And they're going to the marketplace. So think of a marketplace, okay? If you've ever been here to the Amish markets, you could think about something like that, but it's a little bit more outside, okay? Think about an outside marketplace. The boys despised everything their elders valued. They mocked beauty and goodness. They boasted of injuries and wore scars with pride. They loved violence. They'd run miles to see bloodshed. They'd never miss a hanging. Candlelight flickered behind the shutters of the wood and stone houses around the square, the homes of prosperous craftsmen, as maids lit fires and heated water and made portage. The townsfolk came out of their doorways in cloaks of coarse wool and went shivering down to the river to fetch water. Soon a group of young men, laborers and apprentices, swaggered into the market. They turned the small boys out of the porch with kicks. They leaned against the stone arches, spitting on the ground and talking about death. "If he's lucky," said one, "his neck breaks as soon as he falls. A quick death and painless. But if not, he hangs there turning red, his mouth moving like a fish out of water." So what we need to make sure that we understand is that we first were following the scene of the boys. Then we got kind of an idea of what the town looks like and what the square does. So think about our square in New Oxford. Then after that, they're starting to get the thinking and feeling of what is happening with these they're following these young laborers, okay, these young men, the laborers and apprentices, okay. They went into the marketplace, kicked the boys out, and now are talking about death. So, do you think they are talking about the boys' death, their own death, or the person that is hanging's death? Okay, that's very important because they are talking about the person that's hanging's death. Okay, so if you did not know this, two of the most common ways during this time when they were doing these public hangings, when someone would get hung, they would either, like they said, break their neck or they would suffocate. Okay, so that's why they are saying this. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next paragraph. The old women formed a group on the opposite side, as far as possible from the young men, who might shout rudely. They woke up early, even though they no longer had children to worry over, and they were the first to get their fires lit. The widow Brewster joined them, rolling a barrel of beer as easily as a child rolls a hoop. Before she could get the lid off, there was a crowd of customers waiting. So that can give us that feeling of, okay, this feels more like an event. Okay, when I think of someone that is opening just a stand, or like it said, the widow Brewster joined them, rolling a barrel of beer, getting it all set up, I think about a sports game. Okay, a lot of people at sports game enjoy a lot of those things. Now, they're having it at a hanging. So think about it. This is more enjoyable. This is a show for them. One of the bailiffs opened the town's gate, admitting those who lived in the lean-to sheds outside the wall. Some brought eggs and milk to sell, some came to buy bread, and some waited for the hanging. So again, that reinstates the idea that these people are bringing these materials to this hanging so that they are allowing or kind of selling stuff. Okay, just the way that we go to like a farmer's market to go buy stuff. Occasionally, people glanced up at the castle on the hilltop. They saw smoke from the kitchen and a torch behind the arrow slit windows of the stone keep. Then the mighty doors opened in the gatehouse. The sheriff was first, riding on a fine black horse, followed by a cart carrying the prisoner. Behind the cart rode 3 men, and their clothes revealed that they were a knight, a priest, and a monk. While they came slowly down the hill, the rest of the town gathered. Among the last to arrive were the leading citizens, the butcher, the baker, 2 leather tanners, 2 smiths, the Fletcher, and all of their wives. The mood of the crowd was odd. Normally they enjoyed a hanging. The prisoner was usually a thief, and they were hated with a passion of people whose possessions are hard-earned. But this time the thief was different. He had stolen not from them, but from the monastery miles away. A monastery is a church. And he had stolen a jeweled cup, whose value was so great it would be impossible to sell, which was not stealing a ham or a new knife, the loss of which would hurt someone. They could not hate a man for a crime so pointless. There were only a few cheers as the prisoner entered the marketplace. So here's some things to think about. Okay, when it says the mood of the crowd was odd, normally they enjoyed a hanging. Okay, we can use our inference skills to infer that this is not going to be as enjoyable as normal because he stole something from a church. Okay, so a lot of these people get upset when they get stuff or when someone steals stuff in these hangings because they're stealing things that they need, but hardworking people work for them and pay for them. So these hardworking people realize that why would you steal this? Because no one would be able to buy this. This is extremely valuable and extremely expensive, and no one here is going to be able to buy that. So why would you steal that? So they're all like, this is pointless. Why would I be excited for this? Because they're more excited for when people don't know what's happening, and or someone that stole something that's more important to them, like a ham or a knife or something that they worked for. Okay, so make sure we fill out those questions, restate, and then go into this third part and make sure you compare. The discussion we'll pick up with on Tuesday when you guys come back. All right, enjoy. Have a happy Thanksgiving. I will see you all on December 3rd, I believe, that Tuesday. So enjoy. I'll see you, and have a good Thanksgiving.